I've got our theme music playing in my head right now, but you can't hear it because it's copyrighted. No, I don't really have it.
Yeah, but I'm glad
Well,
to see you back moving, healthier,
yeah.
feeling good. Happy Sunday, everybody, right here in Hollywood, my home, my hometown. Enjoying this beautiful Sunday afternoon here. It's been just beautiful Sunday, Margaret. How's it
Yes.
here in Atlanta?
Actually, it was a really nice day here in Atlanta as well. I went to the farmers market. I got some really nice vegetables and I got some really nice tea. And I was really excited about that. It's really, really tasty oolong strawberry tea. It's really good. Yeah, you can only get that at a farmer's market. Yeah, so last week,
Over at Food for Health Marketplace,
yeah,
we open up a store out there through the AHF Foundation, and we sell affordable groceries, straight from the farm. It,
yeah,
just like you go into a farmer's market, but it's affordable. And the
hmm
amount of people that are coming, that are showing a lot of interest in the concept that we presented to the community, it's amazing. We're getting a lot of regulars. The word's being spread out, and we really done no advertisement. And
that's great.
yeah, so we're really excited because eventually this kind of model that we're setting here in Los Angeles is going to be replicated throughout the United States. This coming week on Tuesday, our team will be going to Florida. We're gonna be out there in Fort Lauderdale, and we are looking into the what's out there and what have you. But look, it's all about moving forward, and I'm just excited that I have health right now, that I'm able to do things. And as long as I have breath, there is hope for all the stuff that we are working on, and for myself, and so on and so forth. But Marco, glad
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
back. Last Sunday, I know you were pretty ill.
Yeah, I got food poisoning. I'm not quite sure what was the cause, but you see this couch here? I was horizontal on the couch the
Yeah.
whole day. So I was really glad that we could not do the show because I probably would have slept through the show. Probably would have been, laid out on here while you were talking, and most likely would have fallen asleep because I was pretty out of it from the food poisoning. But yeah, a lot better now. Really glad to be here. Hello to our audience. Thank you for joining us as always on this Sunday evening. I'm Margot Paez. I'm a scientist, engineer, and occasional journalist and co host on this show. And over here is Carlos Maruquin. He is an amazing grassroots organizer and does incredible work in the community. And also a co-host on the show, and you're watching Stand Up Fight Back. And did I say that already? But I'll say it again just in case. You're watching Stand Up Fight Back, where we discuss strategy and analysis for the progressive movement. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about, Carlos. There's a lot going on. There's the midterms. There's everything that the Biden administration and Democratic Party are not doing. There's climate change. There's people being evicted now because some states have lifted their moratorium and have run out of money, or they've taken some of that money back and are not giving it to people who need it. So,
Or misuse
people,
in other things that they have taken the money and literally use it for other than, as
hmm
you say, so much going on.
yeah, so great. I mean, I was just reading that Texas and New York City have the worst eviction rates right now, and they are directly related to the lifting of these moratoriums. So this is a real problem. In California, it seems that the moratorium is still in place. There was a challenge against it, but the court upheld the moratorium, so they don't want to actually take any of the landlord cases. So that's good for people in California for now. But in other states, like in Texas, as I said, the situation is not good. And Carlos, what happens to people when they're evicted? The families that are evicted, where do they go? How do
Well,
they
problem.
manage?
Oh, there is no system in place, no safety net. So pretty much, you know, if they get lucky, if they're some of the lucky people, they're able to get a hotel room for, whatever the program allows them. And usually, right here in Southern California, some of the city council districts provide vouchers to hotel rooms for up to 90 days. But the problem is these are hotels again. uh, you 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 have people that are being evicted that have all their belongings. Where do they put it at?
Hmm.
Most likely the people getting evicted have no money, so it becomes it's several problems that arises just from the eviction. Many of them hold jobs, still working. Some they have children. So you got to look at where you're going, how you're going to handle that and be able to
Hmm.
still bring him to school and try to leave some kind of life. How come from a place to home?
Hmm.
Now you're pretty much on the streets. If you're one of those fortunate persons, you may have a car, you may have a vehicle that you can at least put some of your belongings. I say some because again, these are families that are being evicted from their homes. They have beds, they have clothing, they have, you know, all the stuff that we need to survive. They have food, that now, all of a sudden you cannot take with you. So when you think of evictions, it's more than just kicking somebody out to the streets and having no place to go. There's a lot more that goes with that. If you're sick, if you require perhaps to have some form of machine that you need to plug into so that you could do your treatments, you know, that's now a problem because where are you going to be able to plug, your respirator or whatever you machine that you have that requires that you require to have medical medication. Now you don't have that. So the bottom line, and to answer your question, is people are left on the streets with all their belongings.
Yeah. So
It's
that's the situation people are facing now after this
right.
pandemic has been going on for 2 years.
We saw that happen through the foreclosure crisis where people were being thrown out to the streets, and with all their belongings they had everything outside. Where do they go from there? It's heartbreaking, and people don't understand that. Regardless of what the situation was, it is wrong to people to throw them out on the streets. There should exist some form of safety net that assists people that are losing their homes. If
Hmm.
not, what we have is people more tents, more people living under bridges, more people, becoming unstable mentally because living in the streets will immediately starts the process of issues with your mental health. This is not a normal thing to live, on the streets. If you're a woman, all of a sudden you become a target, a 24/7 target against predators. And what do you have to defend you? There's no walls, there's no door to close. You are there on the streets, a target from predators. Women are likely, unhoused women are more likely to face some form of violence, sexual violence, when living on the streets. Women become a huge in all forms of predatory actions by evil people, and there's no doors to protect you. There's no windows you could close. You're out there on the streets, and again, this is the United States of America, the richest country in the world, where we have not a billionaire. Now we have a trillionaire, the richest man in the world, a trillionaire. You know, while you see the gap. I'm not saying that all the rich people are trillionaires, but there's a whole lot of millionaires and billionaires out there. There's a lot of people that have a lot. And never mind the trillionaires, the corporations, all those developers that have caused this crisis. The housing crisis was caused, and it is caused by greed, by ambitious developers, real estate people, investors. That's what the housing crisis is all about. It's about those people. They want more, more, and more.
Well, they want more and more. In the meantime, people are being pushed out of their homes, and this is destabilizing their lives. I mean, what is the solution? I mean, what are politicians presenting as a solution right now?
The inaction, pretty much nothing more of the same, because we see some of the suggestions of some of the programs that they offer. If you're a candidate, you're going to promise the world. Of course, those are the talking points that you're going to offer, that you're going to solve everybody's problems. It's not going to happen. Here in Los Angeles, we have a mayor's race. We have a billionaire, a developer. Listen to this, a developer. One of the persons that caused the crisis here in Los Angeles running for mayor, and he's running 24/7. He's running ads on TV, on radio, newspapers. I got literature dropped on my front door. You know what I mean? Telling us, how he is the answer. For crying out, that man Caruso created the crisis. He was part of the creators of the crisis here, but now we're supposed to look up to him as the one that's going to solve our problems.
What?
So
Mhm.
again, there is no solutions right now that they are offering something that is worth us saying, wow, this is something really exciting, something to get excited about. If you look at whatever they present, they say by the year 2025, we're going to have X percentage of people living in homes. Well, what happened to the other people, the other percentage, and what happens to the other percentage that are going to become homeless? So pretty much you put us back to square one. I have yet to hear a candidate or a politician say that we need to put a freeze on all these developments of luxury housing. I am yet to hear that from any politician.
Yeah, I continue to see lots and lots of luxury apartments coming up in Atlanta, for example. It's endless. It's endless sprawl of these apartments. I don't know who can afford them. It's really weird. I don't I guess they're projecting more people would be moving into cities, but
Unless they
if they
it
can't
right,
afford to live in the city, I mean,
you know,
I
I don't
don't
see that
really know who's moving into them.
right. And see, so this is what they are doing, and you got to pay attention to what they're doing. All these politicians serve, at the hands of corporations, and what corporations do, and what filthy rich individuals do, they create themselves, and listen to this, layers and layers of protections, of safety nets, to make sure that they keep only gaining, not reducing their bottom line. And that's what is happening. They use politicians to create these safety nets. Those safety nets should be created for the working class. But what are they doing? They're taking them away. And in replacement on that, they're putting safety nets to further protect the rich and the powerful.
Right, right. So rich people, they criticize these safety nets for poor people, but they have no problem with safety nets for themselves. Socialism for the rich, but not socialism for everyone else.
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's the reality of
Everything
this
else.
system. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all you're going to call it communism, socialism, if it is for the working class. But when it comes to the rich, there's absolutely no problem. If he's going to uh, further empower corporations, they have no problem passing and bending any law that they need to bend, and pass it or change it or what have you. And this is what we wanted to talk about today, Margaret, because the fact of the matter is that you have both political parties that have made a lot of promise over the decades, not years, over the decades, for change, and all we have It's a lot of talking points, a lot of promises, and both parties not delivering anything. So, they just go back and forth. How long have we been fighting for, let's say, let's take any issue? Well, how long have we been fighting for housing, for homelessness, for student debt, for climate change? How long have we been fighting this? They all talk the talking points, and no one has been able to deliver and change anything. Immigration, Margot, the crisis at the border.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. No, we have not seen very much change. We have not even really seen incremental change. I think the Biden administration has made a number of promises that they have not even mentioned since they won the election. For example, the action on immigration, as we've talked about. Now there's Title 42 that's up for debate or in court right now. And then there's the. Mhm.
The members, and I gotta say this, the members of the Democratic Party, have come against it, and some of them are pro it. So it's been like insanely crazy because this is exactly why nothing gets done in Washington, Margaret. We've been fighting for immigration forever, for as far as I can remember. They have the only time that immigration comes to light and they want to talk about it and they want to point fingers to each other is election time. After that, the issue is dead. But so they are political gain. Immig- Immigrants, migrants, those people seeking asylum, those people that seeking, to be able to go through a process, they are political gain from both parties, I may say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you remember this. Probably do. Under the Obama administration, immigration organizations called him the deporter in chief.
Right?
Right. So to really expect the the candidate who ran on Obama's coattails to actually do anything monumental on immigration to me is a little bit of a joke. And it's obvious. I mean, it's panned out. I mean, he's done very little, talked very little about it, and yet we still have this issue at the border. People trying to seek asylum, trying to come into the states, and not being able to.
And you have
And
Right. You have Governor Abbott over there in Texas, freaking lunatic, costing billions of dollars and hurting the economy by stunt games that he played, just,
mhm.
pulling his political stunts, because it's election time, he's up for re-election. And all of a sudden, he's talking all this talk. Look, you got serious problems in Texas. Why is it that they don't address them? Because now it's politically convenient for them to talk about this. This coming week, Margaret, you're going to have a whole bunch of senators, Republican senators, and congressmen going to the border. Why? Because they're going to do those photo ops. They're going to talk the talk. But while they were in office, you had a President Trump, and I hate to call him president, but you had Trump, you had the Bushes, you had all this, Republicans that had held the highest position, and none of them have been able to do anything. Why? Because they want to do it their racist way, and they have not been able to accomplish anything to be able to actually come to resolve, the problem. You spend billions of dollars out there, in militarism, in a wall, a Trump's wall, and many other things that they have tried to do, and they're just throwing money to the problem while instead of sitting down at the table. And don't get up from that table until you come into a grown up solution that will solve the problem at the border. They're not willing to do that. Both sides are not willing to do that. No one wants to talk, and they all talk the talk. They all get on camera. They all show the pictures, but no one delivers nothing. Those are the facts, people. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at us because we bring the Democratic Party to attention. But the fact of the matter is that both sides have failed us in many issues. In many issues. And we want to be able to support candidates and people that are actually going to do. I rather them, Margaret. I rather them tell us they're not gonna do anything than tell us they're gonna do something and then don't do it, because that adds, insult to injury.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think the situation is because you have a Republican Party that's way out there, crazy, and then you have a Democratic Party, right? And then you only have two parties, and the only party that's a little bit sane, right, is the Democratic Party. So you kind of have like multiple parties in the Democratic Party, and they don't agree because they're really like three parties in
They
one.
divide. They divide. Democratic Party is like, you gotta hold your head sometimes and say which party. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they move right to the center, they move to the right, then they go back to the when it's needed. You know, they call themselves progressives. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you cannot measure them. You cannot say I'm holding on to something. And that's the problem of them, the Democratic Party. They could be a very, very powerful party, and people will really give them the support. But the fact is that you have people like Manchin and Cinema and a whole lot of other, centrists that pretty much block progress.
And speaking of the Democratic Party blocking progress, Nina Turner running for Congress and the Democratic Party not supporting her. Okay, but not even the Congressional Progressive Caucus. What is going on? They're supporting Chantel Brown, right? I believe. Let me get it right. Yep, Chantel Brown, who took in taking a ton of money from an oil mogul, an oil tycoon. I mean, she's running against. Okay, sorry. Yeah, she's running against Chantel Brown, Nina Turner, running on a progressive platform, Nina Turner, running on justice, Nina Turner, running on a Green New Deal, Nina Turner. Why? Why are they not endorsing her? And
Because the
it's
Progressive Party, the Progressive Caucus, has moved to the center, and they are looking for their political security as individuals under the cover of a progressive caucus. They forgot who got them there. They forgot under what terms they got there, as to what promises. So they being politically calculative in pretty much saying, well, we don't think this is pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, and I can assure you this is the deal. We pretty much don't think Nina can make it. And if we support her, we may lose support of Brown, because if she's elected, now she's not going to like us. And she's not going to vote with some of the stuff that we propose. That's one
oh,
vote. People. I mean, come on, wake up.
she's not going to vote for any of it anyway. She's not a progressive. She doesn't even care about climate change. She's taking money in from some oil tycoon. I mean, it's total insanity. Like, what is this? I don't understand this like this pretend like 11th degree chess that these politicians are playing because it's so bad. It makes zero sense. It's illogical, and in the end, it never plays out the way they want it to. Uh, I mean, Bernie Sanders is a co-founder of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, right? They should be running on the Bernie Sanders platform. They should be endorsing people who are running on the Bernie Sanders platform. This is this just shows the incredible dysfunction of the Democratic Party that even the Progressive Caucus cannot get it together, cannot stick to the program.
Own, and I hate to say it, but they become owned because they give them certain positions within the party, certain committees that are prestigious committees, and then they get threatened that if, and they or they get scared that if they don't go along with the rest of them, that they pretty much are gonna lose the little power they have. But news here, you know what I mean? Your vote is worthless if you're gonna sell out.
Yeah.
It becomes worthless because you're forgetting already who you're representing. You cannot try to calculate this. Either you with or you're against. It's that simple. The again, the main problem of the Democratic Party is that you have the people that are in the middle. They cannot make up their freaking minds. One day they're for this, the next day they're for that. They tell you, you're running a Democratic platform, but the Democratic platform is buried under the mattress. They only pull it out whenever it's necessary. All of a sudden, there is a platform that they stand for, but they have sworn that they are for making sure that everyone has access to doctors and what have you. But what have they passed that is symbolic? Not a damn thing. You know what I mean? They have promised a lot of different things, you know. And this is why we have to say the truth. I know that some people don't like to hear this, but if we don't say things like this, if we don't expose what's going on within the Democratic Party, we have no right complaining about Republicans because we have become just like them.
Well, the Republican Party stays in line. They fall rank and file, lockstep on their issues. Democrats do not.
Even when they wrong, even when
Even it doesn't
they stand for
matter.
they stand one thing that we have said over the years, that we admire the Republican Party for doing that. Even in their mess up bills that they put out, they stand together, right or wrong, do or die. And why do you see them? They're still out there in office. Why? Because they stand for something. Learn something, Democratic Party. You know,
well, look what happened to Liz Cheney. They didn't they censure her? Like, she
the
got in a
same
lot of trouble
party
for
stood
standing
for
up
what
against Trump. Okay, then here's Manchin and Cinema completely derailing the entire Biden Build Back Better platform. Nothing. No, nothing happened. It's okay.
they don't get
It's all
censored.
right.
You know what I mean? They go out there easy to him. Why? Because he may vote for one of their bills, but he's not promised anything that's coming from Manchin, Cinnamon, and a few others. Nothing is guaranteed with them, because if he is not what their handlers are saying to vote on, believe you me, that they will stand for whatever they are asking them to vote on. They will not censure them. Look what happened in Florida with the Disneyland taxation, the special taxation they have. You had the entire Republican Party supporting the decision of the governor, right or wrong. And that means that Disneyland can actually pull out of the state and go somewhere else, but they're going to still stand on whatever they believe on. Learn something, Democratic Party, please. You have super majority here in California. Why is it that you have not reversed Ronald Reagan policies? Did I
I'll
say
tell you.
yes? He was the governor of California
Yeah.
decades ago, and the Democratic Party has not been able to reverse some of his policies.
Well, because I think the reality is that a big percentage of the Democratic Party actually agrees with
That
neoliberal policies, and I think that's the reality. The reality is they like them. They do, and they have no interest in changing them. Those laws, those rules, whatever, it benefits a good portion of the Democratic Party as much as it does the Republican Party.
I want to see,
So that's it.
Margot. I want to see them succeed, but at the way they're going, in the direction they're going, they will not succeed. They may end up
Yeah.
losing the House and the Senate in this next midterm election. Why? Because they haven't delivered nothing. What have they done? For crying out loud. You know what I mean? It's like, do something significant. I've been saying this, and people think that I'm crazy, but I have this is just my personal thoughts. I have a feeling that Biden is holding on into uh, the student debt situation. So, a couple months before the elections, all of a sudden he's going to wipe out, the student debts. That's my personal feeling. They Otherwise he would have already closed the door. But he's been playing that game with that. So if he was to do that just before the elections, all of a sudden people forget everything and they like, oh my God, he's a great president. Great
Yeah.
president, make great decisions and bring great change. Listen, say you want me to say that again? Again, you know what I mean? Great presidents make great decisions and bring great change. So we need to ask ourselves, what great things have they done? So we cannot call them great presidents because they not. Not Trump, not Obama, not the rest of them, you know? And those are the facts, When we need them, this is when you have to step up to the plate. During the foreclosure crisis, you had two different presidents that had a chance to put Wall Street where it belonged, but they were scared of them. And what did they do? They actually brought in Wall Street into their administration.
Yeah. I want to see. Let's see if I can share this article. So this is from David Sirota. Let's see if
But
this
what we
works.
want is to see a strong Democratic Party. We want to see a third party. You know what I mean? We want to see, a party that actually stands up for the people and do what they say, that they're going to do. Actually, mean what you say and say what you mean. Uh, you know, uh, you just
Yeah.
able to do that.
Yeah. I think so. You know David Sirota, right? David
Yes.
Sirota. He worked on very closely with Bernie Sanders over the last decade or two, and he's got his own news outlet now. It's
Mhm.
called Lever News, and he just recently wrote this article called Joker America. And I think Sirota has really hardened. His heart has hardened over the pandemic, I would say, in terms of his perspective on the Democratic Party. So he wrote this really great article called Joker America: How Joe Biden and Democrats are helping Republicans convince the country that government and politics don't matter. And he really just goes through, highlights everything that the Biden administration has promised and failed to deliver on, and highlighting, yeah, that Biden's poll numbers have fallen, and things aren't looking too good going into the midterms. He highlights a few things. He speechifies about the need to address crises. He then makes worse. He blames Congress for gridlock but won't pressure lawmakers or use his executive authority to do things. He promises policy reforms that his own agencies decline to implement. The baiting and switching is a feature, not a bug, a deliberate strategy predicated on a corporate media ecosystem that ignores the gaps between White House rhetoric and action. So he's arguing that the Democratic Party is purposely doing this, because why else would they do it, right? Why else would they sabotage themselves so hard? Here's all of the things that the Biden administration had promised to do. Because consider a brief list that reads like a recipe to smash the last hopes and dreams of millions of voters. Biden promised to enact a $15 minimum wage, and then he and his party promptly abandoned that initiative, never to be heard from again. Biden pledged to halt drilling on federal land and spent the first year of his presidency promising climate action, all while he outpaces Trump's drill baby drill initiatives and deploys his spokespeople to brag about flooding the world with fossil fuels and amid the ecological emergency. Biden promised an immediate cancellation of a minimum of $10,000 of federal student loan debt, which he has the executive authority to do at any moment he chooses, but he's been refusing to do it and has been trying to overturn bankruptcy court victories for the most beleaguered debtors, even as he faces polls showing 1 in 5 of his own party voters will not vote to re-elect him if he keeps betraying his student debt promise. Biden pledged to protect traditional Medicare and give Americans a new choice, a public health insurance option. Then he never again mentioned the public option when he became president. Instead, he is helping his healthcare industry donors further privatize Medicare and reap even more federal Federal Affordable Care Act subsidies as insurers reduce coverage, rake in record profits, and jack up premiums. And as data show, middle aged Americans are souring on the ACA. Oh, Biden has thrown in cuts to the VA medical system too. This goes on and on. It's a horrible laundry list of just failures of the Democratic Party and the Biden administration. I mean, the Biden administration continues to incessantly tout deficit reduction while helps Austerians cast the end of the child tax credit as pragmatic belt tightening. At the same time, he is making headlines proposing massive increases in the bloated defense budget. And this child tax credit, Carlos, I mean, we talked about this, you know, when this happened. This was a lifeline for a lot of people. This was a good thing, but it was only for a certain amount of time, and Congress had to come back, needed to come back and reinstate it and extend it, and they failed to do it. So that brief moment when the Democratic Party was cheering, yeah, we are lifting all these children, millions of children out of poverty. Oh, but only for 12 months or for however.
Right. Those, like I say, those are the problems, Margaret, is that they do things halfway. You
Yeah.
know, you're gonna do that if you look what's happening right now with eviction moratorium. It's going from month to month, every 3 months, and then all of a sudden they pull the blanket, and now you're out there in the cold, left out in the cold. And that's exactly what happens. They put band-aids on top of band-aids and on top of band-aids. At the end of the day, you may end up with a worse situation because not only have you spent billions of dollars in programs that didn't last and you have nothing to show for it, but now you have created a situation even worse because you have more numbers out there in the streets, sleeping on the streets. You have more people that are sick. You have more, community problems, social ills, and the list goes on and on and on. Look at the stuff that we seeing on the streets with guns. It is insane. People getting killed left and right. But now, the Republican Party, pulling their stunts, and they like pretty much now everybody can carry a weapon without having to apply for anything. No permits, no nothing. Concealed weapons, everybody. You know. In the meantime, where is the Democratic Party, for crying out loud? Why they haven't taken some form of stand fighting out there? I look to the left, I look to the right, I see no strong Democratic spokesperson that is really standing for something and counting, contradicting everything, all the garbage that the Republican Party puts out. You know, where are they at? Why they are not speaking out in force and creating, that the pushback is because they have pretty much when you open the curtain, the room is empty. There is no ideas. There is no fighting will coming from leaders
Yeah.
of the Democratic Party. This is why we need to elect people that have been working on the ground. We have to be able to support it. The problem is that Democratic Party supports, their yes men. They're people that will go along with the status quo. You know, you gotta be bold, Democratic Party. You know, if you're gonna stand for something, for crying out loud. The people will respect you, they will love you, they will support you. But as long as you are not being bold, as long as you are half stepping, as long as you're just talking the talk and not walking the walk, you're not gonna get support. You stand to lose the House, you stand to lose the Senate, and even worse, you stand to lose voters that will never vote for you. Why? Because again, you cannot stand for something.
Their their democratic leadership is completely disconnected from everything that is going on in the country. I mean, you cannot operate like this without being so disconnected and they must have a lot of yes people around them telling them, yes, yes, this is the right thing to do. Yes, it's a great
Look,
idea to to cut this child care tax credit. Yes, it's a great idea to go after Medicare for it's a great idea to ignore climate change. You're doing the right thing. It has to be something
Do
ridiculous
you know
like that.
the amount of representatives that talk so beautiful about the earth, the need to, to love the earth? Well, where's your vote, people? I don't need to tell me how much green you want to be, because if you're voting against the change to bring green, then all these photo ops that you put out on Earth Day are worthless.
Yeah,
Are,
yeah. It's just lip
this is
service.
an emergency, for crying out loud. Governments were negotiating with ONU, the United Nations, and ONU, particularly ONU, they were negotiating with the scientists. Dozens of scientists that came out with what was wrong with climate change, what needed to happen. They negotiated with them behind closed doors as to what was the proper language to use, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
In other words, you know what I mean? We cannot offend the big boys. We cannot offend corporations. If we're gonna say it, we gotta say it like this. No, you gotta say it the way it is. Your house is burning, the building is on fire, you burning the world. You know what I mean? It's like it's climate change. Sound the alarm. Why you gonna butter it down? Why you gonna pretending something that gotta make it beautiful? No, you gotta speak reality, the truth. You know,
Well,
we are in a serious, serious situation right now with climate change, and you're gonna butter it the way it sounds nicer.
well, as Greta Thunberg said, it's a lot of blah 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 blah. It is. It's just blah 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 and a lot of it, and it's not anything. There's no action. And it's really, I think it's because this entire economic system is completely intertwined with the fossil fuel industry and the banking system, fossil fuels, neoliberal capitalism. It's all intertwined. And to decouple that is extremely painful because everyone who has benefited from this relationship will lose money, and they don't want to lose their money. They don't want to have stranded assets because that means no money for them. And this has been the way that they've been making money for decades, 100 years. It's worked out really great for them. Why stop now? Short-term profit thinking, right? That's what corporations think about. Maximize profits in the short term. And that's the situation we have. And so long as corporations and these very rich people who sit at the top of these corporations have all that say in our politics, then the government are not going to do very much about it.
Well, they control corporations, control the government. That's Everybody knows that. It's not a secret. What I'm saying here is not a secret. When I say they control the government, they control both parties. They control both political parties. If you see where all the money comes from, look. I'm not afraid, if I'm not afraid and I'm secure with myself and who I am and what I'm running for, I don't need no corporation money. If that's the cost, that I'm going to get voters upset, I'm gonna prove to them that I'm running on leadership and true leadership. I don't need their money. I'll do it without their money. I go and knock on the doors. I do whatever I have to do to get elected. I'm gonna earn your vote. You know, you telling me a lot by saying that, by doing that. But as long as you play that borderline game, well, I uh I don't I don't support corporations. I could take their money, but my vote is always secure. Come on, that's
Yeah.
not that's a
No.
claim.
Look, David Graeber put it pretty well, and he's not the only person who has said this. The ability to give money for corporations to give money to people, private donors to give lots of money to politicians is just a form of legalized bribery. And that's the system we have. You solve the corruption issue by legalizing it. And that's the system we have. Citizens United is legalized bribery. So that's that is the reality. When Mitt Romney says corporations are people too, my friend, what is he saying, right? Oh, it's okay. It's okay to for corporations to give a bunch of money and bribe the politicians, right? So that's the system we have. We have a fake, very fragile form of liberal representative democracy. Originally, it was supposed to be a republic. It's not really supposed to be a democracy to begin with, but some people kind of fought for like, hey, I think I want a little bit more of that liberty you've been talking about. So it got a little bit, but the reality is that our system is not a very good democratic system. And so here we see how fragile this not very well built democratic system is, and it has become completely overtaken by corporations, by people who have a lot of money. The more money you have, the easier it is for you to get a meeting with a member of Congress. I mean, the more money you have, the easier it is for you to take over anything, right? Like look at Elon Musk saying I want to buy Twitter because I don't like the way that they moderate the platform. So I want to take it over and change those rules. And I got a lot of money. So, what's your price?
right? And come against them. And see, that's the bed that they created. That's what I was talking about. Layers and layers of safety net for the rich and the ultra rich. Because pretty much, they own the politicians, they own, a lot of these agencies, they have all the money in the world, you know what I mean? And they pretty much are very unlikely to lose anything. You see that when you have homeowners fighting for their homes in court, you know what I mean? Who's going to win? It's almost like, before you even enter into the courtroom, the judge already made up his mind that the house is going to go to the bank before you even step into the court. Unless you have millions and millions of dollars to fight your case, you're not going to win against an army of lawyers that the banks will present in court. And that's the reality of having layers and layers of protections that the rich have been able to build over the years by corrupt politicians. Again, you have Mr. Caruso that served as a police commissioner. He's an insider. He's got deep connections already in the political world in Los Angeles, and now he's running for mayor. He's a developer. Who do you think controls City Hall? Developers do. So all he's doing is positioning himself to further his business. He's another Trump, but he's a nice Trump. He talks nice. Have you seen his videos? It's like you almost want to put a tear in your eye because, oh my God, this guy has been so great. We never heard of him until right now. All of a sudden, he's coming out with all these people that speak well of him. That's what money will do for you.
Yeah, you can
He's
pay
been
people.
ads 24/7, Marco.
Oh my gosh.
And with
I haven't, I
great
mean, I'm
coverage
in,
of how great, how much he loves Los Angeles.
oh my gosh. It's incredible. It's like Bloomberg, right?
Right.
What is this guy? This guy Bloomberg. You built this terminal computer system basically to help people trade stocks and speculate on in the stock market on equities, whatever. Right? Okay, yeah, great service. This guy made a crap load of money and then decided I'm gonna become mayor of New York City because I
Right.
got a ton of money and I can do it. And he did. And he tried to change the rules so that he could stay mayor longer. And then he decides, I'm going to run for president. And he makes it on the stage, not because there's any like really good quality to the guy, really. I mean, you
It's
hear
money.
him talk on the stage, he's terrible. It's like there's nothing impressive. His personality is lousy. But he had plenty of money to spend to hire people to go out and knock on doors and
Right.
have them sign petitions or whatever to get him on the ballot. And that's going to get him up above the minimum percentage threshold required to get onto the stage, right? But, this
He could pay
guy,
pollsters. He could pay for people to run polls favoring him. That's easy for him to do. He's got all the money in the world.
No.
Coming in, mind you, coming in, he put $10 million, $10 million to his campaign. He borrowed money from himself to pay $10 million to his campaign. Automatically, that put him on top already.
Yeah.
So he's corrupt going in, even before corrupt running his campaign. Well, people say, well, that's legal. Yes, it is. But they made it like that.
Like I said, legalized bribery.
Right. That's corruption right there. When you allow Citizens United, how much money can you donate to a candidate? You know, you have a limit. Why is it that these people can put millions of dollars or corporations can put whatever amount they want, you know what I mean? And do it in so many different ways, and that's legal.
Yeah. Got super PACs. You can hide your donors, keep it all secret.
Right.
Dark money, dark money. That's
Again,
the name of the game.
right. Again, they created layers of protection to protect the current system the way it is and to continue to build it up. What meantime, the working class, those that are struggling, every form of every kind of safety net that existed is being ripped off one by one by one by one. And we're going downer and downer and downer.
Yeah. But but we have a few things up our sleeve. First of all,
Yes,
you unionization is picking up.
that's right. We went,
And that's a good thing. It's
yes,
slow, but it's starting to happen. Lots
yes,
of success at Starbucks stores. Now we're seeing unionization finally happen at Amazon. We're seeing unionization starting to happen at Apple. I think that there is potential to see unionization accelerate and pick up in this country and in a way that it has not for decades. So that is hopeful because I think as people start to see that they have no one but themselves and their community and mutual aid to help them, that they're going to start turning toward that. And the tools to do that are there. Having a union is a great tool to fight for yourself, to fight for better wages, to fight for health care, and to do it in a local setting too, to do it in a decentralized way. Instead of asking the federal government to give us these benefits, we fight for them at the local level. And so I'm excited to see more
great.
progress with the unions now. This then Bernie Sanders this evening he had a town hall with union workers. So he's really pushing on that. And I think AOC also has been involved getting behind that. So it's nice to still see a little bit of support from Congress. You know, even if the Congressional Progressive Caucus is sitting there with their tail between their legs, afraid of old Nancy Pelosi, but you know, at least there's something, right? At least these two people are going out there and putting some political weight behind the unions and supporting them. So that's great to hear. I mean, let's see, we have let's see. Yeah, so like I said, I was trying to see in this article if there's any specifics, but I don't see it. But yeah, it's looking good. So I'm hopeful. Hopeful that we see more unionization. It's a lot. I mean, this is still a very small percentage of the workforce that is starting to unionize, and it's going to take time. But if there's any hope, you know, we'll be on this curve, and then all of a sudden it'll accelerate,
Right.
and we
But we
need
have
to we
for
need
the
to get that momentum to have that acceleration where all of a sudden we start seeing massive unionization all across the country.
Mhm.
So that's going to take, I think it's going to take a few more years before we see that, but it's hopeful. I think this is at least good to see this attempt at democratization and taking some of that power back to the workers themselves.
I was over on Saturday. I went and visited one of the local unions, 721 SEIU, the USWW, and they represent janitors and they represent the service um, workers. And I tell you, there was at least 100, 150, and maybe close to 200 other members that showed up on Saturday, and they were being trained to go knock on doors. That's what I'm talking about. I got excited. I
Mhm.
want to be able to support that kind of movement where people are knocking on doors. And as one of the guys that was training the people was telling them, hey, we're not there to debate. We're not over there trying to convince anybody. We're just out there to let them know, get out and vote. You
Mhm.
know, when you present this kind of tactics where you are out there knocking on doors and people see you, you look like them, you know, you talk like them, people have respect for that and people will support you. And this is what we need right now. We need strong unions. We need a labor movement that are going to be, powerful on the ground, powerful in our communities. I saw them. I got to tell you, during the pandemic, the union stepped out and they were out there giving food away to the communities. That's the kind of stuff that really, should turn us on, because this is those things should be handled by the government and being able to mobilize like that. But in the absence of leadership, this is when you start seeing people on the ground stepping up.
Yeah,
And I'm
we need
excited.
that. Yeah, yeah, we need a lot more grassroots effort. We need a lot more people involved at the local level, because I think at this point that's where we're going to make the changes that we need. So it's great to see that one store at a time. Let's see how long it takes. And we need that attitude at all levels, at the local level, in terms of seeing this change. We need people to get involved in their local politics and to really decentralize that power from the city, from the city councils and the mayor, and spread that throughout the community. And we can do that. We can definitely do that. We need to take over those boards that make decisions about public utilities. We need to take over those school boards that make decisions about funding for the schools. Like those school boards, you talk about cause, you talk about how the developers run city hall. The developers also run the school boards.
And
They heavily influence who ends up on those boards, also that they can get contracts that they just bloat, and do a terrible job often in building and making improvements for public schools. I mean, these schools are a mess. The public school system really struggles. There's a lot of corruption, and I think part of it is that the oversight site is not there because the community is really not involved. It's
you have
really.
a lot of the people that should not be, holding those seats, on school boards, holding seats. So you have a lot of, attorneys, friends of developers and big corporations, got involved into politics. So listen, people, if you think that you should not get involved in politics, guess what? Your landlord is involved in politics. Your insurance company is involved in politics. All the special interests are involved in politics. We need to get ourselves involved as much as we hate it, but we got to start seeing what's happening on the ground. Unions are good. You have a lot of community advocacy groups that are fighting for issues such as climate change, such as rent control, such as student debt, the environment. There are groups that exist that are powerful groups, you know, and what makes them powerful is the unity of the people that come together.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how we win.
And start with your town, start with your city.
Start
That's
with
all. That's all it takes.
talk to your neighbors.
Yeah, talk to your neighbors, organize them. I mean, that's what
Have
it takes. Form neighborhood councils, get together, make decisions, take
right.
that power back. You do it on the local level. We don't need to go to Congress to do this. And in fact, I think it will be more effective if we take control at the local level and make things happen from the bottom up instead of from the top down.
Why you think that they don't allow any kind of developments over in the rich area part of Los Angeles? You don't see them building apartment buildings in those nice neighborhoods. Why? Because they stand together. The whole community stand together and they say, not in our neighborhoods, you know. But we allow those same rich people that don't want some of the developments being built on their streets, you know, they come and they push all these developments in our streets, in our communities. This is where gentrification takes place. And they push all these small businesses out of business. You know, they begin to control our communities. And that's what has happened is we have allowed the super rich, those people that are connected to City Hall to control what happens in our streets.
Yep, yep.
We
And
allow the unhoused to happen. The homeless crisis, we allow that to happen because we disconnected ourselves. If we would not have allowed all these big developments to happen, guess what? Your rent will be cheaper right now. But every time one of those buildings go up, rents go up. Your mortgage, may go up. I know for sure rent will go up. And now the landlord's looking at you because you pay, you know, less money than what the market is going for. He wants you out. He's going to create any kind of situation to try to get you out of there because now he's looking at money. When he sees your apartment, he's seeing more money. But
yep,
we have allowed that to happen by not getting involved. People, we can win this and we can make some serious changes if we come together, if we fight together. Your next door neighbor is not your enemy. We need to get to know them. We need to have conversations. We need to present all the angles. We need to come up with solutions.
yep, yep, yep. And we need community banking. We need community loans. We need probably circular economies of our own with our own local currencies. I recommend looking into that. Okay, Carlos,
Time is up.
we're, we're out of time.
We out of time. Time is up. But definitely has been interested speaking with our friends today. And we do apologize for last week and the other week where we're not in good health. But we've been on for how long have we been on already in these programs?
October 2021
I would
or 2020?
we started doing these shows
October
back
2020.
to bring analysis,
Yeah.
aggressive movement and a strategic planning thoughts and all these things. Look, we don't claim that we know everything and we don't claim to be anybody special, but we you have a firm commitment from Margot and myself that we're going to have your back, your best interest in mind as we speak here and take advantage of this platform that we have. As you know, the Bernie Sanders Brigade page was taken down. We did nothing wrong, and they still have not been able to restore the page. They had 88,000 followers. And again, this is what Facebook did. But we're here and we committed to be here as long as we could possibly can. Margot does go to school and has responsibilities. I do have a job, but we have you in mind on every Sunday because we want to speak to you and we want to be able to hear your comments as well.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We're all out of time now. You've been watching Stand Up Fight Back, where we discuss strategy and analysis for the progressive movement. I'm Margot Pius, your co host, and over here is Carla Maruquin, your other co host on this show. We're here every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Please be sure to follow us, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, share us with everybody you know, because we're here every Sunday bringing you the latest. All right, take care, stay safe,
We
and
want to
we'll
say hello to all of our union members, all those strong union uh, members, that representatives, and all the unions. We dedicate this program to you, to all the unions and all the union members. Stay
yes.
strong, people.
Yes, and a shout out to Antonietta via mail. I saw you there. We'll have to have her back on soon. All right,
Most
take care, everybody. Have a really great week. We'll see you next time. Bye.